In this video, we're going to factor quadratic trinomials, okay? So quadratic meaning the largest exponent is 2, trinomials meaning a polynomial expression with 3 terms, okay? And the leading coefficient in this video is going to be 1, okay? So it's a lot easier if the leading coefficient is 1, okay? A lot fewer steps, okay? If the leading coefficient is something different than 1, then it's going to be a little more work and the process will change slightly, all right? So first thing we want to do is we want to label A, B, and C. Okay, so A is the coefficient of x squared 1, B is the coefficient of x, which is 7, and C is the constant 12. All right. Next thing we want to do, we want to multiply A times C. So A times C, 1 times 12, equals 12. Okay. The next thing we want to do is we want to come up with the different factors of 12. Okay. And this is a positive 12. So what two numbers multiply to be positive 12? Well, there's a bunch of those actually. All right. There's actually 6 pairs. A positive 1 and a positive 12 would multiply to be positive 12. The negative 1 and a negative 12 would also multiply to be positive 12. And so on down the list, okay? Positive 2 and 6, negative 2 and negative 6, positive 3 and positive 4, negative 3 and negative 4, okay? So what we want to do next is we want to figure out which of these pairs of factors multiply to be 12, but also add to be my middle term, okay? Which in this case is 7, okay? So we want to look at which of these pairs are going to combine to be 7. All right. So in this case, I got a question for you. Do we even care about these 3 pairs? Okay. If I add 2 negative numbers, I'm going to get a negative number. And I need B here to be positive 7. Okay. So the answer to that question is no. So I'm going to go ahead and eliminate these negative values here. Okay. So I'm only going to look at these 3 pairs. So which of these 3 pairs add to be a positive 7? Well, 3 plus 4 is 7, okay? So this is the pair of factors that I want to use, okay? 1 and 12 doesn't work, 2 and 6 doesn't work, 3 and 4 does work, okay? So I'm going to take these 2 factors, and we're going to write our factors of this trinomial in terms of a binomial times a binomial, okay? So my factors of x squared are going to be x and x, okay? That's what makes this easier. I'm always going to have an x as my first term in each binomial. And then I'm going to take each of these factors, positive 3 and positive 4, and put it with the x in each of those factors, okay? So x plus this factor 3, and then x plus this factor 4. All right, now you can always check your work, okay? And you can use, some people call it the FOIL method, some people call it, using the distributive property. But we want to multiply x plus 3 times x plus 4 just to verify that we get the trinomial that we started with, okay? And we do, okay? X times x gives me x squared. X times this 4 gives me 4x. 3 times this x gives me 3x. And 3 times 4 gives me 12, okay? Combine the like terms, okay? We've got like terms here. Those combine to be 7x, okay? And that's what I started with, so that tells me that these 2 binomials are the factors of x squared plus 7x plus 12, okay? Now, let's try example problem number 2. Okay, so pause the video right here and give number 2 a try here. Try to factor x squared minus 4x minus 21, and then come back and check your work. Okay, so again, we've got a quadratic trinomial. Leading exponent is 2, 3 terms, so quadratic trinomial. Let's label A, B, and C, okay? Now, I want to multiply A times C. A times C is going to be negative 21. Okay, and I want to think of all the factors that could multiply together to give me negative 21. All right, so it's going to be 4 pairs this time. 1 and negative 21, negative 1 and positive 21, positive 3 and negative 7, negative 3 and positive 7. Okay, so which of those pairs combine to give me my middle coefficient of negative 4? Okay, so let's test all those. So the first pair doesn't work, 1 and negative 21. Second pair, negative 1 and positive 21, doesn't work. Third pair, looks like it does work. 3 and negative 7 combines to be negative 4. Let's go ahead and check the last one just to show that it doesn't work, okay? So the pair that's going to work is 3 and negative 7, okay? So once I get these values, I'm pretty much done. I just have to write out my answer, okay? If the leading coefficient, again, is not 1, then there's going to be an extra step that we have to do here. But with quadratic trinomials with a leading coefficient of 1, once I find this pair of factors, I'm pretty much done, okay? So my answer is going to be x plus 3, okay, and then x minus 7, all right? As always, we want to check our work. So we want to multiply these together using the FOIL method or using the distributive property, and you can see that it's going to work out. X times x is x squared. X times -7 is -7x. 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times -7 is -21. Combine our middle two terms. That's usually how this is going to work. Those are going to be like terms, and it gives me -4x, okay? So that tells me this trinomial factors as the product of these two binomials, okay? And that's how you factor quadratic trinomials with a leading coefficient of 1 using the AC method.